Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Bronze Reaper podcast and the Reaper Nation podcast. I'm your host, Rosalind Perkins, and we got a research show today. What's going on, Dorsey? Salute, salute, salute. We got a research show today. Give me a second. Mm, the dark history between the Democratic Party and the Black Americans. Um, Give me a second. We will be talking about the relationship from the beginning to the end right now, and the reason why we're talking about it, we're seeing why um in full history that why are things changing. I'm also thinking about doing also the dark history between the Republican Party and the Black American Party. So definitely anybody who's a Democrat, don't worry, we will be talking about Republicans probably tomorrow. So definitely we will see the odds of a lot of people. Hold on a second. Sorry. But we will be talking about the we will probably do a two-part series probably today and tomorrow. So don't worry, liberals. This isn't just, me kicking in your back. We just actually are talking about the history of um the Democratic Party. So if anybody don't know, the origin of the Democratic Party came from one of the most ruthless, most terrifying, most racist people, Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson hated black natives and Native Americans. So best believe you would hear about him. I wrote some notes and stuff like that. So I will be looking back and forth. But the former president, also known as, I mean, the former president was known for attacking Native Americans and black natives. Especially the biggest one was probably in Florida. And this is where, Andrew Jackson broke his treaties when the black natives and other natives from the South left and went to Oklahoma. Um, they broke when they got to Oklahoma and all that area over there. They were still in slavery. So that's how Andrew Jackson was. He was, and this is why, if you ever watch my show, the Bronze Reaper podcast, I have always told people I don't believe in working together with white Americans. It's not that I can't be friends with them. I'm not friends with them, but collectively and historically, even I can bring up 9/11. We were all American, and when we became all American, when the war was, maintained a little bit, this is when things went back. When black Americans were violent, black Americans were stupid. It's just the whole nine yards. And like I said, do I want people to work together? What's going on, Robin? Salute, salute. Yes, absolutely. I believe in working together in unity, but I don't believe in unity when people have bad intentions. So that's just me. Um, like I said, I do believe in unity and stuff like that, but I don't believe in yeah, but not during 9/11. The small hats. I'm sorry, everybody. Robin, if anybody don't know Robin is one of our buddies from Kick, and he's an Irishman. I consider him a good friend. The reason why I consider him a good friend because he learns. These are these shows that where he and I let Robin talk. I let him ask questions and stuff because I rather you ask questions than to act like you know. And like I said, I don't know enough of this, but we will learn together. So and that's I think that's the cool thing about Robin. Um, but Robin's blaming the small hats for 9/11. So Shout out to Robin. But as I was saying, oh shoot, I was sorry, I wasn't looking at it. What's going on, Dorsey? Uh, it, Andrew Jackson. I mean, Dorsey said Andrew Jackson's mother's ran a brothel. Absolutely, we learned together. But yeah, personally, to me, I don't believe in unity. You know, because we tried it. That's the thing. I don't just say stuff just because I'm a narcissist or I'm pessimistic about it. It's just I don't believe in it. So yeah. Um. Also, oh, back to what I was saying when I was talking about Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson killed multiple people, and I heard he killed somebody in the White House multiple times. So I don't know if it's true or not, but I think he was also the first one to be, impeached. But he was a crazy, he was a psychopath, and he was the one who created the Democratic Party. I'm not saying this is why we have a lot of Democrats, putting people lights out, but it could be a possibility. Why? But yeah, I heard Andrew Jackson's fought the banks though. Andrew Jackson was the ones, and Robin, you are a Republican. Andrew Jackson was the founder of the Democratic Party. So all this Confederate, all this white supremacist stuff that we do talk about came from the Democrats, the Democrat era. So this is why I always look at the Republicans now, and I'm gonna be personally honest. This is why I look at the Republicans and I look at them crazy because they have all these Confederate, this Ku Klux Klan shit, and not knowing that it came from the Democratic Party. Did the party switch sides to a certain extent and did it? The Democrats made a money move and you know, went left, went far left and started, bringing minorities, also Black Americans in the 1960s. So it's not like, oh yeah, they did it out of the graceful of their heart. No, it was a money move, And as I said, I say it, with no ill will, no ill will, but this is what we sign up for when you vote Democrat. Andrew Jackson abandoned his post as night watch and letters can't get wiped out. White people were lost. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Andrew, I'm gonna tell you, Dorsey, Andrew Jackson, just researching this crazy lunatic, he was a nutcase, man. Um, I gotta be personally honest about it. He was a nutcase. He didn't mean no good to people. He was for self, narcissist, very delusional. So I'm not surprised, but correct me if I'm wrong. Weren't there multiple attempts on? Yeah, he was the first one to get an attempt on his life. Yes, that's true. But I wouldn't be surprised if you're a psychopath like he was. Yeah, there should have been more. And that's coming from me. It should have been more. He got off easily, if you ask me. You know, and like I said, it comes with the bullshit that you do. If you're on that bullshit, this is what happened. This is the type of bullshit that you're gonna go through. Like, I'm gonna put it this way: is it wrong to put assassination attempts? Is it wrong? Yes, absolutely, it's wrong. But do certain people deserve it? Well, let me tell you something. If you're causing harms, because I said the most powerful thing in the world is tongue. That's the most powerful thing is tongue. And you're using your power for wrong, what you expect people gonna be? There's gonna be somebody who's like, yo, fuck it, let me dumb out. You know, there are people like that. So it's. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that this is why people do shit like that. You know, was it wrong for them to kill old Charlie, or I'm sorry, to murk old Charlie? Yeah, probably. You know, was he innocent? No, he wasn't innocent. A lot of shit that he was causing, and a lot of shit he was causing, he was hiding the shit under Christianity, white Christianity. So it's not like, you know, it was wrong, what he was doing, or right what he was doing, but at the end of the day he was doing it for the wrong reasons. He wasn't doing it to save people's lives. He wasn't doing it to help black people. Absolutely not. Let's personally be honest about it. He did it because at the end of the day, he was for self. He was for self. And like I said, it's cool if you do it for self, but at the end of the day, if somebody attacks you over your beliefs, this is what comes with it. So um that's the bad part. Let's talk about the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party promoted white supremacy. Those were the founders was Democrats. The Democratic Party under Andrew Jackson. As I say, Andrew Jackson's attacked a lot of black and Native Americans. So he attacked black natives. He attacked black natives. He attacked American natives. So at the end of the day, this is what came with a lot of bullshit. Did he have some natives or Creole people on his side? Probably not, because um, probably yes. Put it this way, probably yes. And the reason why I say probably yes, because Andrews Jackson was for self and money. A lot of wars that Andrew Jackson went into was unreasonable. So at the end of the day, it came with the situation. So give me a second. Huey Long was assassinated because he liked black women in Louisiana. Yeah, like I said, Dorsey, it came with the situation. It came with the um when it came to Andrew Jackson, it was his way or no way. Like I said, he was a psychopath. You know, he killed people, he murdered people, he probably violated a lot of people. He was probably a freak. He had a lot of mistress, especially Napoleon's mistresses or wife. Andrew Jackson was, cracking her, cracking her sometimes. So like I said, it comes with the situation. Democratic Party came from the wing party. Like the Republicans had MAGA. Yeah. Um as I always told you, and if you're on my show, I always tell them they all the same. They both came, and the reason why I want to talk about the Republicans in the history with Black Americans as well, because the Republicans didn't help Black America or help Black Americans or foundational Black Americans. Foundational Black Americans and Black Americans helped the Republican Party. We didn't need them because at the end of the day, as I talk about it, the liberty of the Knights, the Knights of Liberty with Moses Dickinson, they were already about to attack a lot of colonies in the South. They were already about to get busy. They already were 200,000 strong with weaponry, with um, skills, guerrilla warfares and stuff like that. We already see how the black natives and the other and regular natives got busy in Florida. It was so bad that they had to sign a treaty. They had to sign them like, yo, if you leave, you we'll give you your own land, and lied. You know. Let's see. Democrats were slaves owners. The Jim Brown set them off. Starting. Yes, I do agree with that, Dorsey. I don't know as much of it, but I do agree. Democrats had more slaves than the Republicans. You know, that's why when people always talk about, oh yeah, they switched sides. No, they didn't switch sides. They just made their sides more, marketable. I think that's what the Democrats did. They just made their side more marketable. as I'm telling you again, I'm not trying to tell you to become a Democrat or become a Republican, but I also want you to know, I want you to understand that we really haven't been friends with the Democrats for like, we haven't really, the Democrats really haven't really fucked with us like that. And I'm gonna be personally honest. I'm gonna say this: the Democrats started messing with us in the 1960s when they were losing all these political terms and stuff. What they did, like I said, they did a money move. That's the only way they could win and have people in their office from their party is to have Black America. And if you see the pattern, and I'm gonna tell you again, if you see the pattern, they always need a black face or they always need black help. From the Civil War, the Republicans need us. From political issues, the Democrats need us. This is telling you something. This is telling you that they need us. We don't need them. We have never needed Democrats. Only thing we needed from Democrats or Republicans is stay out of our fucking business. But at the end of the day, in this era, we can see that they can't even do that. They have to have shows on us. They have to have. It's so bad that the Democrats put a $20 million research on how Black American males vote or why on how they think. That's how crazy it is, and they did it behind a black man's face, Cory Booker. If you wonder what I'm drinking orange juice. I'm not drinking like that. Um, they had the same. And I'm gonna say this: the Democrats hid their white supremacist ideology. If you ever noticed, and this is through the 1960s, the Democrats really hasn't done anything for Black America. They have never. Are they like a few things here and there? Yes, but it was always had to be a money move. They always had to benefit off of it. If they wasn't benefiting off of it, they're not doing it. And this is why and we're gonna see a few videos today. This is gonna be a quick show, so it probably be an hour and a half to 2 hours. It's gonna be a quick show, but um I do want to be personally honest. And this is just me talking. This is why a lot of Black Americans say that they don't vote. The reason why they don't vote because at the end of the day, the results is still the same. You know, they're still the same. It's not that like, oh, yo, we're gonna, oh, you vote because you're not making a difference or some crazy madness. Hold on one second. Let me check my. Okay. Oh, you're not trying to make a difference. All this other crazy. It's not that. It has never been that. The real argument was if we stay blue, it'll feel like we'll have these symbolic messages. We can relate to the Democrats. I can't relate to no goddamn Democrat, and I'm gonna be personally. I can't even relate to the Republicans either. So I'm gonna be personally honest. Me being conservative is different from a Republican conservative. It has always been it has always been different. So yeah, we all know the truth. The CIA picks the president. I'm gonna say this, Robin. I don't know. We could do a show on it. um, are there influence? Yeah, there could be influence. I would say that there could be influence. I wouldn't tell you that you're wrong, but as I'm saying, I don't know. I'm gonna be personally honest with you. Um, Give me a second, everyone. Okay, cool. We'll leave that one. But yeah, it's. I'm gonna say this, Robin. I'm gonna answer some of y'all questions too. If anybody want to call and talk about or send the link down, I could throw the link down. You talk. Tell me how you feel about the Democratic Party, the Democratic. No, the relationship or the history between Democrats and Black Americans. And I'm talking about Black Americans who were already in this country since the 1800s, 1700s. So if we personally look at it, we never had a real good relationship with Democrats. You know, do we have a relationship now? Not really. To me, Democrats always felt entitled to my vote. The gold rush of 1849 gave the Republicans the upper hand because, oh, that's something to think about, Dorsey. I'll put that up on here. Um, like as I said, I don't have all the answers, but we do have stuff to talk about. So, at in probably 10, 15 minutes, we will start the show. But yeah, like I said, it's gonna be a quick show. We're gonna break down some stuff today, and we're gonna get busy as we always do. Give me a second. Oh, my fault, Dorsey. Hold on, give me a second. I forgot to open up the floodgates. And also, Dorsey, I'm on Facebook, so you can't, be talking crazy. So give me a second. Dorsey's calling, but here, we'll call him back. Uh, uh, what's going on, Dorsey? Also, I gotta warn you, can't talk crazy because I'm on Facebook too. So
Okay, so I'm gonna keep it very
PG
lectury. Okay.
and PG.
Okay. The history of the Democratic Party, they were an offshoot of the Whig Party,
Mm,
WHIG.
mm,
Okay. The Whig Party at that time was a lot of Southerners and a couple of industrialists that went in the early like 1814s, somewhere around there. They were in control of the government, but at the time, the War of 1812 kicked off, so they really didn't have a chance to follow their agenda.
mm,
By after the war, there was an offshoot. You know how like Republicans had MAGA?
mm-hmm.
Well, the Democrats was like MAGA.
Shit.
They were an offshoot of the Whigs. So these were the people who were a lot more militant, and they uh, they wanted to invade a lot of Mexico. They also wanted to extend slavery into California and all of that.
Mm,
Well, the federal government was like, well, nah, we can't be doing that right now. First of all, we have to develop the land we already got. But
mm,
the Democrats was like, well, we got these slaves, and we can have this. Our little crew can have this shit civilized in less than a century
okay.
for free, right?
Yeah.
The industrialist was like, no, 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 no. Uh-uh. We can't have that because then you will have no overhead. You getting free manpower and labor. That would bankrupt us. We wouldn't be able to compete with them economically. See, um, political parties are just economic powers.
Can I ask you a question since you said that?
Yeah,
I said I said that the Democrats what they did in the 1960s while and when I said in the 1960s when they added minorities to their party because they really weren't minority based. It wasn't a minority based party. Was it a money move in a political
yeah.
move?
Okay, look at it this way. When JFK because that's the Democrat that we recognize in the '60s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, JFK was the offshoot of Roosevelt, the other Roosevelt, FDR.
Okay.
Okay, FDR was a Democrat, right?
Yeah.
And he came into office right after the KKK had came in after the Depression,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
So what he did is he used the chaos of the Great Depression to shuffle the cards, to shuffle the deck, right?
Yeah.
So he did just like Andrew Jackson. He said, I am going to give white folks jobs at the expense of black people.
So that's what
And
JFK
you
did.
might say, why do you, huh?
That's what you think JFK did.
No, that's what FDR did.
FDR. Okay.
Okay. That's when he introduced the Tennessee Valley Authority.
Hmm. No, keep
And what
on,
he did
keep on,
was
keep on talking.
he
Keep,
flooded all those little, huh?
Busty, keep on talking. Don't worry about me. Just keep on talking. I'm listening because I'm still learning too.
Okay.
Because this is a research show.
Okay. So there was about at least 40 black towns with populations over 2,000 people per little village. You know, they call them villages back then.
Mm.
Hoots and hollers were located within that area, that floodplain. Let's just say it like that. When they went ahead and built that dam, making it more of a hydroelectric project. It wasn't just a water project; it was a hydroelectric project to provide electricity to Georgia, parts of Mississippi, parts of Alabama, Arkansas. You know, these were power line projects, right?
Mm.
For but it was at the expense of the black people
Mm.
because that was what they call that when the city or the government take your shit, eminent domain.
Mm. Okay.
You can't halt progress. Now, for the people who was, did you ever see that movie, Brother, Where Art Thou?
With John Clooney,
With George Clooney,
George
right?
Clooney. Yeah.
Remember when he was trying to run to find his wife's ring, and then all of a sudden all that water rushed in and was drowning the town? Now, for the people who was, did you want to run to find his wife's ring? And then all of a sudden all that water rushed in and was, you remember that?
Mm.
Drowning the town. Now, for the
Yeah.
people who was, when he went to back that town, that was his wife's ring. So when they finally made the dam and the water started seeping up, I mean, bro, you wouldn't believe it. It flooded in less than 30 days and took over like
Mm.
200 hectares. I mean, you know, it's acres, right?
Yeah.
So all those families, those black families, lost all their possessions
Okay.
and made them refugees, right?
So was that through the Democrats or was that through the Republicans?
That was through the Democrats
Okay.
because FDR was the one who was in charge of the country at the time, and he had the seat of Congress, and at the time he also had judges. He appointed the first black judge.
Mm.
Okay,
So let me ask
so
you a question. I'm sorry because like I said, I'm still learning. Um, do you think that did the Democrats did any do anything to fix it, or did they say, "My man, you gotta go"?
no, they did a bait and switch.
What do you mean by bait and switch?
I'm going to dangle the civil rights in front of you, but I'm not going to give you the silver coins,
Okay.
which is more motherfucking important.
So it's more of
I got the
a
right to
smoke.
vote. I got the right to vote.
So it's like more of a
Or do you
smoke
need money
screen.
in your pocket?
So it was more of
Huh?
a smoke screen.
Right.
Mm.
So when we were looking at, oh yeah, we got the first black federal judge, we got the first black president, see, they'll throw us a motherfucking fish,
Hey, hey,
but
hey,
they
hey, hey,
keep the
Dusty,
whale.
Dusty.
Huh?
I'm on Facebook.
Oh, I forgot. Okay, they will. Okay, sorry about that. They will give you a sardine, but they gonna keep the whale.
Mm.
So
Okay.
what happened is, yes, um, blacks did have an economic not investment, but I'm trying to say they did have an economic source off of this because the white men were doing the actual work of building the dams, the construction, and all that, right?
Yeah.
The black people was the cooks and the people who washed clothes.
They would
So then the people
they
who,
did like
huh,
the minor things to help the people. Basically, it's like a cycle.
support
Yeah,
group. Let's just say they was a support
yeah.
group,
They wouldn't let no black folks build no dam or anything because first of all, it's money.
right?
It's money out of the white supremacist pocket or out the white community pocket. So what they did is that they put their
Nah,
people first.
it's like it is now. Look at all this government money they just give to these corporations and shit,
Hmm.
and it's not even a loan. It's just they give them the money,
Yeah.
through Congress and so forth. So at the same time, Huey P. Long. Remember I told you
Hold on
about
one
Huey
second.
P.
Hold on.
Long
Hold
out
on.
of Louisiana?
Hold on one second. FB Convo. Uh, Kwame was there. Yeah, that's Kwame. Go on.
Oh, he seen old boy.
Yeah, on Tariq Nasheed Radio.
Correct us, hit us. Yeah. Anyway, huh?
Go on. No, no, go on, go on.
Okay, so what happened was Huey P. Long he challenged FDR on the runoff
Mm,
because he was going to be governor, and then he was headed to being the president.
mm.
So his thing was two chicken in every pot. Vote for me, I'll set you free.
We're
You see where I'm
talking
coming
about
from?
Frederick
Oh, he was
Roosevelt, right? We're talking about Roosevelt, right?
Franklin. His name
Franklin.
Frankie.
I'm sorry, Franklin
Frankie.
Roosevelt, right?
Yeah, Frankie.
Okay.
Frankie R. Yeah,
Okay.
Frankie Roosevelt.
Okay. 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 No, I was just making.
Yeah,
I'm just
back
making
in
sure.
them times.
I'm just making sure we were talking about the same person. Go on.
Okay, so in them times, they had names and nicknames for him, right?
Hmm.
So he was known as Frankie R in the work camp,
Yeah.
and so he was giving them the white boys a paycheck, and the brother it was the trickle down. You see what I'm saying? The trickle down economics.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so at the same time this was going on, the Democrats. Now we're talking about in the '60s. See, I can jump back from time period to time period in order to see you how they never really changed their thinking. They just changed their tactics.
Yeah, that's why I said this is why I said that the Democrat Party switched to help Black Americans because it was a money move, and also I said they still had the same ideology for the Black Americans and also known as foundational Black Americans. They still had the same mindset, but they just hid what they were doing.
Can I say something?
Go on.
And I hope this is just Dorsey's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, y'all better be glad the Great Depression hit
What in the 1930s or no
1929.
1920s? Sorry.
Remember, the Ku Klux Klan was at its height in the 20s. They
Mm-hmm.
even watched. They even marched to Washington, had rallies and all that, picnics, all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they was living high off the hog, stocks and bonds,
Hold on one
and
second. Hold on one second. Robin, Obama is a American citizen. He's a Kenyan American, but he is an American citizen.
yeah, African American
Yeah,
shit.
African American. He's an African American. I'm not African American.
And
I'm
he was
Black
born in
American.
Hawaii, so that makes him a white American citizen.
Yeah,
And his mom is American citizen, so
he
he
could.
fit all the he checked all the boxes.
He could say he's a white American because of his his
And
lineage.
Mammy.
Yeah. Go on.
Okay. So like I said, it's always been about money. So when they made these Missouri
I'm sorry. Whoa, whoa,
compromises
whoa,
and
whoa, whoa,
all
whoa. Hold
this,
on one second. Robin, Miss Michelle Robinson is not a man. She's not a man. Mm-mm.
who?
He's talking about Michelle Obama. Miss,
Robin,
she's not a man.
Robin,
That's one of those white
Robin.
supremacist ideology. This is the one of those white supremacist things that they do to black people, like the Michael Jackson thing. Like Prince,
Hey,
when
can
people were
I ask
saying
Robin the
Prince was
thing?
gay, and he was.
Can I ask Robin something?
Go
Robin, how tall are you?
on.
So when a Meg the Stallion come up on you, do you trip and say, "Hey, or do you accept it for what it is?" Because it's all about the genetics, bro.
Yeah, Robert, she's not a
You
man.
see where I'm coming from?
He swear up and down.
Because see, the whole
Oh,
thing
he said
is,
he's 6 feet. He's 6 feet.
huh?
He said he's 6 feet.
Oh, okay. So she can look you dead in your eye, huh?
Michelle Obama, she's not
Uh-huh.
no man. I have to defend her, and I'm not even a Democrat nor a Republican. I'm a no party person.
Man, they got two daughters, and the daughters look just like their mama
Yep. And if
and
any
they
in
dad.
anything, she's probably in. Those are probably surrogate kids, if anything. So I would put it this way, Robin. I personally wouldn't do that because at the end of the day, she hasn't done anything to nobody. All she has, I'm gonna say this: she has gave more hope than Obama. She had gave more results than Obama. Obama didn't give a shit.
Check this out.
You know,
Check this out. It ain't no disrespect to none of y'all and all that, but any because we on public access, I have to people with little twigs, right, are intimidated when they meet the mighty black oak,
yeah, yeah. I bet.
and
Let me tell you something.
a twig can't feel her knothole, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that's what they intimidated. See, they have this phallic. They just not saying Robin. I mean, Robin, you probably like Johnny Holmes or something, man. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? But at the same time, man, when them little dudes, and you know what I'm talking about, when them little dudes get they little, and there's some black dudes who got that little, like P Diddy, right? What they say, P Diddy was what, three, four
yeah,
at best.
yeah.
His pickle. Can I say pickle?
Yeah, you can say
Can I
pickle.
say pickle?
Yeah, you can say pickle.
Yeah, his pickle. He had a Gerber.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
a baby.
He wasn't dealing with no sour or no spicy hot, right?
Yeah,
He had a
yeah. I'm gonna say
Gerber.
this: most women say 3 inches is normal. Most women are you nowadays. Women want bigger, and I don't know why. I'm not a woman. I can't tell you why, but women mostly
It's
say,
because of porno.
yeah, adult
It's
entertainment.
because of porno.
Adult entertainment. I know this is hard because we're on
I
Facebook. Yeah,
okay,
we're
my
on
bad.
Facebook. I know. And if this gets canceled, don't worry. We still got this on Facebook. But we're gonna try to save it on Facebook. That's what I'm trying. I'm trying.
Yeah, I just keep remembering Facebook. I got it. That's why I have to slow down
Yeah,
in the middle of my sentence to come up with the right word because usually I would just spit it out, right?
you could go crazy on Facebook. Yeah, but yeah,
Right.
it's just like I'm gonna say this. One thing I could give credit to Diddy was he tried to please his girl. So that's all I can
Oh man,
say.
he went and got gunslingers, man.
Yeah,
Diddy,
yeah.
Diddy,
He was playing
Diddy was
big. He was playing
like
big money.
Ben Cartwright.
My man was playing big money.
That is,
It's like I can't be
hey,
mad.
that
If
is,
he can't do the job, he's gonna get the job done somehow, some way. They say, yo,
right. He gonna fly in to help, baby.
they said they told me Diddy had one of them the Hodges on, what the women, the Muslim women be wearing. He had one of those things on in the scene with sunglasses on, watching his girl get cracked.
Gun in his engines. Ain't that a damn shame? Gun in his engine.
Shout out to Diddy, man. Diddy's he's a fool for that one. He had one of the Muslim was a how does it say how they say it? The Muslim hats with the women be wearing with the mat.
Hajj, the
Yeah,
Haji.
yeah, with the face mask and everything on. They say Diddy had that on in, in one of the on one of the scenes with yeah, Robin with Cassie.
So he Egyptian lover, huh?
That dude is crazy. Shout out to Diddy, man. That man.
Hey, so he think he Rudy Valentino or somebody. You know how the
Yeah.
the old movies old boy used to have his little the
Oh my
Sheik.
God. Yeah.
Remember that one? The Sheik, he had his little head, only see his eyes and
My
so
man had
forth.
his Ray Bans on with the hijab, the hijabi, that
Right, doing the camel. Hey,
doing the
hey,
Harlem Shake.
tell me if I'm hitting the borderline, right? Nigga doing the camel walk to the camel toe,
nah,
right?
he was doing the Harlem Shake. I heard they say he was doing the Harlem
Oh, the
Shake.
Harlem Shake.
Yeah, they said this man was
Oh, he a
wilding out.
beast.
Yeah, he was wilding out.
He a
And he
beast.
said the only thing they made her. They said the only thing he made these girls do was stop. He said Cassie was getting cracked for like 18 hours by 4 or 5 dudes. So it's Diddy made her stop.
Hey, wasn't Cassie Al be sure old lady?
No, 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 no. That's what's her Kim Porter.
Oh, okay,
No.
okay.
If
Hey
any,
man, that's crazy,
if
man.
any girl, if any guy was messing with Cassie allegedly, it would have been Leslie Ryan. But I don't think Leslie Ryan was messing with her because she was like 17. But in other states, in certain states, you can mess with them consensually, like in Massachusetts at 16.
Well, remember he was flying them in and out
Yeah,
across country, so that's across the state line, so that automatically make us fed,
and don't
right?
forget,
But
hold on, don't forget, she's from Connecticut, so it could be the same. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
hmm
And a
well,
lot of
you know who
people,
messed that up, right?
what's his name?
The boxer,
Uh, which one?
Jack Johnson.
Oh yeah, when he was with those white women, yeah, he back.
Yeah, they made a
Oh,
law just because they was mad. Hey, it was gonna. They were mad because he was digging out the women after the
yeah,
boxing matches, and this is what 1904,
yeah,
1906, something like
yeah.
that.
One of his wives were white, and he was beating up white. He
Yeah.
was beating
So,
up white men, saying hi to their wives, being pleasant to them. He's like, hi,
well, you
Miss
know who?
Slovakia.
Guess who was in office at the time?
No,
The Democrats.
I'm not surprised. I'll say this, and I'm gonna give you 2 more minutes. A lot of this stuff
Hmm.
is hidden from us, as especially if you're a Black American and if you're like me. Always still my mama was a little bit more political than my daddy. My daddy was one of those type of people's like, yo, you work hard, you move up higher and stuff like that. My mama was different. My mama had a college degree, was in these political circles, NAACP, one of the NAACP advocates. She helped Chuck Turner, the legendary Chuck Turner, get into office while, giving her time and effort when she could have just been spending it with me. She was actually doing her political due diligence as a Democrat.
Right. Right.
And I'm gonna
Right.
say this: Chuck Turner, salute to Chuck Turner because he made Boston better. Even though they hated him, he went up to these places and he was one of these old folk type of niggas that was driving a raggedy ass gray car, driving around putting his foot on these people who making 6 figures. Talk about, yo, why isn't this done when you said this would be done 2 years ago? You said 6 months ago this was gonna be at least almost done, and this is not even halfway done. And what they did to them, They screwed him over because at the end of the day, he was helping somebody get their liquor license, and he gave them I mean, he got $1,000, and that's embezzlement, and they gave him what 32 months, while they were actually knocking down. They were knocking off people that were stealing 30 to 80 to $100,000, and this is what they caught them with. They caught them with only like 80,000, 60,000. And let's use our imagination. They probably were stealing hundreds of $1,000s. They just caught them with 60 to $80,000. And I'm talking about Cabral, who runs the prisons in South Bay in Massachusetts. We're talking about electors, representatives. They were stealing money. The only person who went to jail was Chuck Turner, and he had to do 32 to 24 months for $1,000. That's telling you something. It's telling you somebody's moving these pieces. It's telling you that these people, yo, if you don't work with this Democrat system, if you don't work with this Republican system, they will get you out the paint for somehow, some way. Yeah, I'm gonna give you 2 more minutes, Dorsey.
Okay, so one thing about the Democrats, they are a false, fake, two face entity. Okay, because a company or a company can be an entity now,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay, so the entity of the Democratic Party is racist because look at it. What I'm finna come from. Look, like I said, we are their most valuable asset since this country has ever even formulated. We were the workforce, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until 1865, right? Everything that came through. Well, when the Democrats were in the South, they observed the North, the Northern Republicans was making money because they were investing in train tracks,
Mm-hmm.
train steam. See, like I said, the U.S. government was investing money in on these train companies, these steel industries, the beef companies, because they had already wanted to take the whole continent. Once they had California, it was over with. From sea to shining sea and everything in between, whether it belongs to us or not. You see where I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm.
So then when the government had made this plan to take over the whole, well, there were people who was in the way, especially after the Civil War. See, the Civil War wasn't supposed to kick off.
Mm.
Okay, so do you know about the Federal Reserves, right?
I know a little bit about it. I know they have monies just in case if anything happened, they'll go to the Federal Reserve and get the money out, just so the country
Do
can
you
survive.
ever look at your money? Do you have some 20s on you now or tens of dollars?
Nah, nah, I still gotta go to the bank right now.
Okay, so the printing press, if you look on your money, it'll say what city it was printed. Philadelphia, New York, Miami,
Mm.
Dallas, Denver, the Denver press. You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah,
Los Angeles, San Francisco. If you look on that money, you're gonna see what city that money originated out of
yeah.
when it went into circulation.
Mm. 30 more seconds. 30 more
Okay,
seconds.
so when the South saw the North coming back with all that California gold and Nevada silver, they saw these dudes becoming billionaires in their times.
Mm.
And so the Southerners was like, well, man, if y'all just give us a chance, and some of them did come out here because in San Bernardino, California, there was slavery. That's why, Gavin Newsom talking about he want to give them reparations for
Mm-hmm.
the families out here. But the whole thing is the majority of the slaves were stuck there because of the Civil War, because the South was going to put train tracks. Georgia Pacific, that's what it's called now. But see, the trains only went so far as Texas.
All right, Dorsey, 10 more seconds. I'm gonna give you 10 more seconds.
So they could not move the slaves wholesale. Just like with put them on a cattle car. and ship their ass out. And they couldn't afford to have them cross the deserts. You know,
Mm,
that's like an exodus.
mm,
So then the Democrats got so frustrated, they attacked the federal government, firing it on Fort Sumter,
mm.
especially after John Brown had made his attack on that armory. And that armory, and for that time, was like the Pentagon of the Midwest, meaning they had just invented the repeating rifle.
Mm. Hey
You know that
Dorsey,
one where they cock back, huh?
I gotta go now. I know you're getting busy, but definitely I
But no, 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 no. Okay, I'm finna land the plane.
go ahead, land.
Can you imagine 1,000 black men with repeater rifles while motherfucking white boys had muskets?
Mm. Yeah, I can.
And that's what set them off because they said, man, if the government's in on this shit, they trying to give these Negroes modern, space guns.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent of it.
Hey, thank you,
It take you 50 seconds to shoot a bullet, and this dude is shooting a bullet less than one bullet per second.
Mm. I'm gonna let you land there,
So that
Dorsey. I gotta let you land there because I gotta go, and I will answer the question about that, what you just said about the Civil War after.
and Robert E. Lee was the one who battled John Brown at Harper's Ferry. Okay, I'm landing the plane. I'm getting off the plane. Oop, damn, I stubbed my toe. All right, I'm gone, man. Hey, look at that bitch over there. Ooh, all right,
Oh,
I'm gone. See ya.
thank you, Dorsey. Shout out to Dorsey. So I will say this about the Civil War. Black natives and foundation, also known as foundational Black Americans, or if you call them Black Americans, they were already gonna attack the South. They were 200,000 strong, and we have done a show on this called the Black Liberty Moses Dixon. If you ever have chance, look up Moses Dixon's the Liberty of Knights or something like that, or the Knights of Liberty. They were already going to attack them. They already were planning, but the Civil War kicked off, and they say, "Push back. We'll fight for the Republicans." So that was going to happen. So definitely with Dorsey, he gave us a lot of information. A lot. I kept a lot, but there's some stuff I forgot. But yeah, I will answer your question, Robin. We should be concerned with protecting the Constitution. The country is constitutional republic. I will say this, Robin. Black Americans has been the only people. I'm gonna say this: the only people that ever really followed the Constitution is Black Americans. It is only Black Americans. Do they do crime? Yes, everybody does crime, but at the end of the day, collectively, constitutionally, and this is why I told you, Black Americans are the most patriotic, most patriotic American in this country. We're the most patriotic person in this country. We don't talk about Europe. We don't talk about our ancestors in Europe or Africa. We talk about our ancestors in America. And that's what makes us more patriotic than anybody. We hold our ancestors up high, even though the things that they have been through, we are Americans. And a lot of people got a problem with that when we say, yeah, we are Americans. Especially me. I say I'm a foundational Black American, or I'm a Black American because my ancestors built America. People, oh, what about Africa? What about I know nothing about Africa. My mama took a 20, was it one of those ancestry.coms crap? That stuff that doesn't really tell you what country you're from. That doesn't tell you, it doesn't, because don't forget, a lot of these countries in Africa are fairly new. They're no old. I'll put it this way: if Harriet Tubman was alive, she would be older than most of these African countries. I'm just being personally honest. Harriet Tubman would be, if she was alive now, she would be older than half of these countries. And Harriet Tubman died in 1913. But yeah, we hold on to the Constitution, Robin. I don't think you're talking to the right people. The people that you need to be talking to is your community. You got a lot of these Chuck the Builder people running out around here doing crazy stuff and not exercising the Constitution or the amendments or the laws. They're abusing it. They are abusing the Constitution. They are abusing the amendments. They are abusing the policies that a lot of Americans worked hard on. So when you talk about constitutional republic, or just the constitutions, you got to talk to your people about that. They're abusing it. So it's like I said, I get it. My community is not really a community though. They are all over that's the thing, Robin. This is where, as an American or even an Irishman or a white man, you got to fix your community. No matter how much they like to hear it or not, you need to fix it. You need to tell them, like, yo, you got to stop doing this crazy stuff. You're making us all look crazy. Then you look even more crazy when you make up excuses for the craziness that these people do. Chuck the Builder, people talk about he had a right to shoot somebody, even with the Asian guy. Well, pop somebody. I'm sorry, Facebook. Also, the little Asian guy who ran after the guy and popped that little 14-year-old. He did the same thing that George Zimmerman did when the 911 lady told him, "Don't go after that man. Leave that man down. We're gonna go get him." He did it anyway. He thought he was above the law. And this is where I say, Robin, you gotta police your people. This is why this Robin, do you understand why I'm so firm when I say, yo, you gotta police your people? What's going on, Ali? Howard, Oscar Alame, Asa Alaikum Salam. I think that's what you say, right? If I said it right. Uh, but yeah, it's just, do you give us space? Well, I'm pro gun. I'll tell you the truth, Robin. I'm pro gun, but at the end of the day, senseless crimes, I don't care if they're my people doing that. I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, well, you know what? That's right. No, absolutely not. You know, Thank you. I do appreciate it, Ali Howard. No, I do I do. Like I said, I don't condone dumb shit, Robin, and I have to say it that way. I don't care if they're my people doing this shit. I don't care, because at the end of the day, you make us all look crazy because we're giving you, put it this way, Robin. Let's say one of my people has ran up in the building and did some foul shit, and the building blows up. You think I'm gonna give an excuse saying, well, you know what, he did have a right to? No, hell no. This this jerk or this thug needs to be in jail. Because then after that, it makes us all look like that. It makes us all look like that. This is why the delineation was so important, because at the end of the day, we're finding out most of us wasn't doing this. Most of Black Americans weren't doing this. Boston. The crime for Black Americans has been down since, I mean, has been the lowest since the 1960s, the 1950s. And the reason why, because you know what, we were putting everybody together. We was putting the Caribbeans with blacks. We're putting the Africans with the black. We was putting Afro Latinos with the blacks. Then after that, they're saying all Black Americans is violent. And they started to see that a lot of these people who were from other country were bringing over their crimes. And this is where now these Caribbeans, these Africans, these Afro Latinos are understanding that, like, yo, we gotta police our people now. This is becoming a problem now, because you know what? It's not flat blackness. I've been thinking it was Black Americans, and no, it was our people. This is what they're saying now. This is what they got to do. They can't, and this is the thing. This is how you understand what a person who is rationalizing, or a person who is actually wanting to do the work to fix their community. You know, that's what I'm gonna say. I will say this, Robin. Well, you're a Christian, you because Jesus Christ was against politics. I will tell you that. Jesus Christ was never a political person. He believes in laws and commandments and structure. You know, politics. Jesus Christ died because of politics. You know, so it's- that's all I'm saying. But I feel like this show's gonna be. I feel like Facebook is gonna take this off, but we still got YouTube and stuff. But yeah, I get it, Robin. I'm gonna be personally honest. I get it, but this is where I told you got to police your people. I do it the same. What? Let me tell you, Robin. You think every black person likes me when I do stuff like this? Some people think like, yo, I'm just targeting people. No, I'm not targeting my own people. I'm telling people like, yo, we can't keep on doing this. Or do you think this is why? Let me tell you something, Robin. This is why I tell people all the time. I am pro immigrant. I'm pro African. I'm pro, but I'm not gonna help you. I'm not gonna help you. I will say certain things. I will say some good things about you, but I will talk about the ugly side. A lot of people don't like that because at the end of the day, I support, like I said, immigrants. I support everybody when they're doing right, but I'm not gonna support degeneracy. I have never, and I'm not gonna start today. So it's like I said, like I said, there are ugly parts of my culture I probably don't even like. But at the end of the day, I still try to fix it. I still have to put in the work to fix it. But now you got to understand, Robin, a lot of stuff that you do believe in and the things that you do want with these constitutions, you got to protect those. You can't have people keep on abusing the Constitution and these amendments. I'm saying this, Robin, we're seeing this over and over with your people. I get you're just one person, but you're not the only person that thinks that, Robin. There's other people that thinks like you. It's just now you just got to put in the work to do it. If you love your people as you say you do, you got to put the work in. So that's all the advice I could give you, Robin. Because, like I said, I'm not a white man. So, but at the end of the day, we are seeing. I'm gonna be personally honest. We are seeing this over and over and over. We've seen this with George Zimmerman. We've seen this with Danielle Penny. We're seeing the degeneracy, and we seeing a lot of these white supremacists or even the white community supporting was it the degeneracy, the degeneracy. I'm sorry, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing this stuff. So now you got to fix your community. There is nothing I can do. People are too divided. Robin, I didn't say it's gonna be easy. I didn't say it's gonna be easy, but you still gotta try. You know, like let me ask you a question, Robin. Do you think before this reparation stuff like really started kicking off in like probably 4 or 5 years ago, did you think we will ever talk about that ever again, or you think that was just under just some shit that was just swept under the rug? A lot of people thought it was swept under the rug until a few people came together and say, yo, you know what? We can't stop fighting. We still got to fight for these laws. We got to still fight for the back pay that they owe our ancestors. We can't just let somebody hustle us and get away with it. The government's giving all this money out to people. They talk about they don't have no money, but we just seen them give damn near. I just seen Boston give damn near $10 billion and just said that they didn't even count it. They don't know how much money that they've been given. And I'm talking about Michelle Wu, Mayor Michelle Wu. I still have to call her the mayor because she's the mayor. The mayor Michelle Wu. What she does is she put a token black person in our face, Ayanna Presley, and say that like, yo, This is what we got to do. I need you to sit here, put the HR 40 out here that were created by a tether that really didn't care about us. No, they would, you know what? It just wasn't easy. It's just like, yo, Robin, there's people that think like you. There's people that will, you know what, who's ready to, put in the hard work with you. You just gotta find it. You gotta put the footwork in. You're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, you're on X. You should be putting that message out there. That's just a message that I can give you. That's my advice, you know? But shout out to you, Robin. You're actually doing a good job. I'm glad, we can have this conversation, But yeah, this is what I mean when I say police your people. Even if you make a podcast, police your people and say, like, yo, y'all messing up. As a white man, I'm not appreciating what's going on. We're looking like trailer park trash out here, and we're supposed to be the most civilized people in this country. We're supposed to be the most reasonable one. We're conservatives. We can't be acting like animals. That's the stuff that you have to say. Sometimes you have to get them mad for them to understand. Then you got to show them why you said that they were an animal. So like I said, it's a gift and a curse. But do I think you can do it, Robin? I believe you can do it. So don't think you can't do it. Don't think, oh, you just one person. You can make a difference. If 1,000 don't listen to you, at least one or two, or maybe even five, you got to their ear, and they're like, yo, you know what? I understand what Robin's saying. I understand, and he's right. We need to fix our community. But you're not the only one, Robin. That's one thing I'm gonna tell you. You're not the only race that needs to fix their community. My race got a few things to fix. The Asian community got a few things to fix. The Latino community got a few things to fix. Now it's it's just the time for a person to say, like, yo, we need to fix our community. We gotta fix our community. I can really appreciate that. I hope I can do it. Yeah, man. You know, it won't hurt to try. But everybody, we're gonna get into the show. We're gonna watch a few videos. The first video we're gonna watch is this Vox, and this is an educational purpose. This isn't like for shits and giggles. This is educational purpose. So definitely I'll be stopping and breaking this down. This just shows the birth of the Democratic Party. And everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment in the live chat. But to comment in the live chat now, I'm about to put it on subscribers only on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, you have to subscribe. All the others, you don't have to be a subscriber. But also, thank you for listening too. I do appreciate everybody from YouTube, from X, from Rumble, everybody. I appreciate y'all for watching my show. But let's get to it. Oh yeah, like and I didn't even finish. I'm sorry, I caught ADHD. Like and subscribe and comment in the live chat, and also don't forget to if you wanna donate to my channel. Here's my Cash App. You could drop down a few bucks. It's always appreciated, and it goes to the channel. I make decent money at work, so what's going on, E Will? Salute, salute, salute. I make decent money at work, so definitely it goes to the channel. If anything, I used to do is probably buy a bottle the most, but the most money that y'all do give me, it goes all to the show. So it doesn't even scratch the surface, but the money that you do give me, like I said, goes to everything in this. It bought me lights, it bought me a new screen, it bought me a new camera. It got things fixed, got me a new desk. Also pictures that y'all like and stuff. It fixed the office up. So again, excuse me. Thank y'all for always looking out for my channel. So definitely. And also, if I have a new project coming out, Brother Morningstar, Sir Adam's Great Portrayal. That's my short film that I will be having for the film festival, and we will be recording in the fall. So yeah, if you don't want to donate or do Cash App, you could do this. You can also do this. I prefer the GoFundMe because the GoFundMe goes to the new project that it helps build the Bronze Reaper Media. Excuse me. So yeah, definitely. Definitely. You know what, Robert? Yo, I told you I'm gonna come up to New York and I'm gonna show it at the film festival. So definitely in New York, I will be there. You know, and definitely I'll get you a ticket because I know you're in New York. And any other of the audience who's in New York, I'll buy the ticket. Or if anything, if you buy tickets, I'll give you like a free T-shirt or some other stuff that I will be promoting soon. So definitely, yeah. The show's gonna be dope. The creation that I created will be dope. But let's start the show.
Today's Democratic Party believes that government has an important role to play in society. It fights against economic inequality. It advocates policies that battle racial and gender discrimination. But it wasn't always this way. The Democratic Party was once the party of white supremacy, supporting slavery and the Ku Klux Klan. To understand how the party made such a huge shift, you have to go back to its origins in the mid 1820s, when it sprung up supporting the presidential candidacy of a popular former general, Andrew Jackson. Jackson was an outsider, challenging the political establishment and the elites of his day, and his critics despaired.
And I'm gonna say this: Andrew Jackson again was the founder of the Democratic Party, and he was a big racist. He was the founder of the Democratic Party. So this already looks bad. That's the thing. This looks very, very bad. You know, I'm not trying to say this is it. I'm gonna say this is the identity of the Democrat Party, because if we start from the beginning and go to the present, it still looks the same.
Him as a jackass. But Jackson embraced the animal as a symbol of determination, and donkeys started appearing in newspapers to represent him and his followers. In the 1828 presidential election, which saw record-breaking popular participation, Jackson won in a landslide victory. So his supporters argued that they, and not the old elites, represented the popular will of the country, and they started calling themselves the Democratic Party. Jackson's administration immediately began expelling Native Americans living east of the Mississippi River, an issue that defined the new administration. After he signed the Indian Removal Act into law in 1830, 5 large tribes were rounded up and forcibly marched into territories and camps further west. And the Democrats' ambitions didn't stop there. In the 1840s, the party adopted.
So don't forget, this is the Democratic Party. Hey, Lala Brown, salute, salute. This is the Democratic Party. This is what the Democratic Party was known for in the 1800s. And it's sad, but this is the part of a trait of the Democrats. And also, I forgot to tell everybody, don't forget to share to 5 people or platforms. Share to 5 people or platforms on this channel or this show right now, because it does help the algorithm. So if you do, thank you. I do appreciate it.
The doctrine of manifest destiny, the idea that Americans, white Americans, were divinely entitled to dominate the whole North American continent. Democratic President James K. Polk put this idea into action, massively expanding U.S. holdings by annexing Texas, acquiring Oregon, and winning much of what's now the southwestern U.S. in a war with Mexico. But soon afterward, national politics devolved into bitter controversy over whether new states entering the Union should be permitted to allow slavery. Democrats said they should, since their support base was strongest in slaveholding states. Yet a new Northern party, the Republicans, sprang up in opposition to expanding slavery any further. When Republican Abraham Lincoln won the presidency, the South seceded and the Civil War began. Once the Civil War was over, the Republican Party was bitterly unpopular among white Southerners who wanted to maintain.
And I'm gonna say this, everybody. The Republicans would have never won the war without Black Americans or Black natives, or also known as foundational Black Americans, because it's all in one. That's why they're foundation. That's why they're called foundational Black American, because that's all their lineage put into one. Because I'll say this: Black Americans have one of the most difficult lineages ever. Some of us is Moors, some of us is European, African, native red, indigenous, black indigenous. A lot of those, it's a lot, it's complicated. It's probably one of the most complex ethnicities, so that's how far it is. Because like I said, a lot of these Moors came to America. Then when you look at the Red Indians, most of those Red Indians are Slavics. So they're from the Asian area. They're from that's why a lot of those native Reds with the two ponytails, they look Asian. If you ever notice, they look Asians because they come from the Asian part of was it the East Coast. And they came here with America, but the black indigenous was already here for thousands of years. Those red natives just got here.
Supremacy over former slaves. So the Democratic Party promised to limit federal government intervention on behalf of black citizens. Democrats became effectively the only political party in the South, aided by intimidation and suppression of black voters. Democrats also won on state and local levels, leading to the constant abuse of the rights of
Did
black
y'all
citizens.
just see that?
As the 20th century began, the country...
I don't think y'all seen that. Y'all didn't see what I seen. Look at this. This is an old pamphlet of the Democrats and the Republicans. Democrat platform right there of the white man, and the Republican platform of a black man or a slave at the time. These are the pictures that they used to put up years ago. You know, Sub-Saharan African historical lead. Let's see. Oh shit! How would they have come? Because the Moors already had the technology. Saint Michael's, they already had the technologies. The Moors were already building boats. How you think Mansa Musa was so? How you think Mansa Musa was getting around places? First, he was using elephants to travel, but he had the technology from the Moors. So this is where I tell you all the time: the Moors technically weren't African because they were everywhere. The Moors didn't even call themselves African. African is technically an American word or an English word. So it's no, they're not Arab either. Were some Arab? Yes, some were Arab, mixed Arabs, but no, they weren't Arab. You welcome in advance.
The only political party in the South, aided by intimidation and suppression of black voters. Democrats also won on state and local levels, leading to the constant abuse of the rights of black citizens. As the 20th century began, the country was changing, and the Democratic Party was changing too. A handful of individuals and corporations had grown enormously rich and powerful, using their vast fortunes to influence politics. And as a reaction to this, some reformers began pushing an agenda of progressivism, arguing that the government should take more of a role in regulating big businesses and improving ordinary people's lives. At first, these progressive reformers were present in both parties. But it was Democrat Woodrow Wilson who won the presidency in 1912 and put much of this agenda into action over Republican resistance.
So again, I'm going to say it again. The stuff that is being pushed out now, the Democrats were doing in the early 1900s. This is why I always tell, like, even with St. Michael's. St. Michael's is a good he was a he's a very interesting audience member. Shout out to you, St. Michael's. But yeah, he don't know the ideology that he spit or he says is a democratic ideology. You know, it's a democratic ideology that you just said, St. Michael's. Well, we're just what? Don't forget, the parties didn't switch. The parties didn't switch. It's just the Democrats made a money move. It was a money move. They say like, yo, We could promise the minorities something or Black Americans something and not give it to them and just give them symbolic messages. They'll be good with that, you know? But, it doesn't work anymore. We don't, it's so, let me tell you how bad that the Democrats and Republicans are so screwed up. They don't know what to do with themselves. They can't do anything without black votes, without black help. We have been seeing this. We've seen this with the Republicans. The Republicans couldn't win the Civil War without natives, black natives, African enslaved Africans, natives, black natives and black Africans. The Democrats couldn't win the political table without black Americans. We're seeing this. We could even do it from right now, 2026, where we're saying where everybody's looking for black American help from the Democrats to the Republicans. Everybody's using that same word. We're all American. We're supposed to have unity. Everybody's using the word unity. There's always a this is the thing. This is the thing, St. Michael's. This is why I did that show probably I did a show probably 6, 7 months ago. You was on here, and when I told you, I said the white supremacists always need black American help. You told me I was wrong. We're looking at the Democrats, right? The dark side, the dark history of the between Democrats and black Americans. We're looking at it right now. We just seen about the Civil War. Abraham Lincoln needed black Americans. Black Americans didn't need Abraham Lincoln because we were going to attack the South anyways. We were already 200,000 strong. We were in cold. We were on cold with each other. You know, Saint Michael, unity doesn't work, and this is why I told in the beginning it doesn't work. You know, but you're saying the modern Democrat Party is is the party of homosexuals. Okay, let's say it is true. Where did that party come out of, St. Michael's? That came out the ideology of the Republicans or the white supremacy. That's where that ideology came out of. It came out of one of the most vicious people because you just got here. One of the most vicious presidents, one of the most racist presidents, Andrew Jackson. That's where the Democratic Party came out of. The ideology that y'all have now came out of Andrew Jackson. All that stuff that you be saying right now came from Andrew Jackson. The hatred that you have onto Black Americans, St. Michael's, came from Andrew Jackson. So let's go back what you just said. The modern Democratic Party or the Democrat Party, I know you meant to say Democratic, so don't worry, is the party of homosexuals. Where do you think that party came out of? The only thing that y'all hate that the Democrats made a money move. That's the only thing that you're mad about. Other than that, y'all have the same ideology, y'all have the same thinking, y'all have the same white supremacists. There's no difference. I'm telling you that there's no difference. So it's and I'm not trying to drag. I'm not trying to say. Let me tell you something. There's nothing wrong with being homosexual. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. That shit ain't got nothing to do with me. I just don't try to push your ideology on me. But we can't act like all this stuff that you are saying, Robin, all this stuff that you do believe in, this conservative stuff, this hateful stuff, did not come out of the Democrats. You say you're a Republican, but your heart says that you're a Democrat. You are a Democrat, and there's nothing wrong with that. You could say Republican, I'm a Republican. Oh yeah, I'm a hard working Republican. No, Robin. I mean St. Michael. Stop trying to change the subject. I'm talking to you right now. You can say all this ignorant racist stuff St. Michael's, but at the end of the day, your heart says that you're a Democrat. You have always been a Democrat. All this stuff that you push, all this stuff that you say, it's a Democratic ideology. I'm just being personally honest. You know, you keep on, you could Jared Taylor. Who cares about Jared Taylor? Who is Jared Taylor? I don't care. You know, uh, I vote lesser of two evils. Okay, you vote for the same bird on two different wings. That's all you do. That's all you do. It's the left or the white ring on the same bird. You know, but let's get back into this.
So the Democratic Party became the main home for progressives, and the Republican Party became more the party of business. But it was the Great Depression of the
Hold up.
1930s that
We just heard it, and I just said it. I just said it. What was the Republican known for, and what was the Democrats known for?
became more the party of business, the main home for progressives, and the Republican Party became more the party of business. But it was the Great Depression of the 1930s that sealed the Democratic Party's new identity as the party of government activism. In an effort to combat the crippling economic situation, President Franklin Roosevelt signed what was then the largest package of domestic government projects in American history, calling it the New Deal. And in the process of doing this, his administration dramatically expanded the size of government. Yet the party was still split over race. By the mid-20th century, it contained Southerners who staunchly supported segregation, liberal reformers trying to end it, and many politicians who were just happy to look the other way. But in 1964, when the Senate voted on the Anti-Segregation Civil Rights Act, this shows how the progressive reformers in the party had gained the upper hand, steering the party away from its racist past towards equality and social justice. But the Democrats in the South voted against the Civil Rights Act, remaining wedded to the idea of segregation. This chart shows the presidential vote for black voters. Around the 1960s, black voters who had already been moving towards the Democratic Party would begin overwhelmingly supporting the Democrats from then on. And conversely, the Republicans would take a huge hit among black voters.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, white Southerners moved away from the Democratic Party they had been loyal to for so long, in part because of race, but also because of a suspicion of big government and a desire to defend traditional values against.
There you go. This is why, Robin, I mean, St. Michael's, this is why you're a Republican. That's why you're a Republican. It's not because you believe in the Constitution or America pride. It was a listen,
But also Democratic Party they
listen.
had been loyal to for so long,
I'm not even
in
gonna
part
say
because of race,
was.
but also because of a suspicion of big government and a desire to defend traditional values against liberal activists. Democrats would go from
There you go. There you go. They said it. The Democrats was making a money move. They were making a power move. That's a power. That's what you call a power play. What the Democrats did. It wasn't because oh yeah, you know we're not racist no more. We want the no. It was a power move because you know what? Those people they were oppressing. If we give them rights, then we could give them symbolic messages and saying like, yo, your ancestors fought. Your aunties and uncles fought to vote. Vote for us because you know what? We helped you. No, they wanted us to vote because it was a power play. It was a power play. The white voters didn't want that. They didn't want that at that time. This is why I always have to. This is why I always tell you, St. Michael's, you got to adapt to the times right now. You might not like it. I don't like it sometimes, but you got to adapt to it. If you don't adapt, you're gonna get left behind, like the liberals are getting left behind, like the Republicans are getting left behind right now. They don't know. This is why things are so confusing because at the end of the day, nobody's not adapting. Nobody's not adapting. The Democrats is trying to give people resources that aren't even not supposed to be in this country. Now you got the Republicans. They're still talking about the 19 fucking 60s. And excuse my French, but it irritates me because they still talking about the 1960s. The 1960s are dead like the disco. Disco is dead. You think that shit's coming back? No, absolutely not. It's not coming back. This house music out here. Disco ain't coming back. This house music out here, techno out here, acid. You think we're gonna talk about the discos? Are they great disco songs? Absolutely. But it's not coming back. It's not gonna make a comeback. Let's stop doing that.
Dominating the South to losing almost all influence in the region. Thanks in part to this drop in popularity among white voters, Democrats started losing elections, often losing by huge margins. But demographically, the US is becoming an increasingly non-white country, and the Democrats have had a comeback thanks in part to minority voters. The huge influx of Hispanic voters has especially benefited Democrats. These demographic shifts helped the Democratic Party, once the advocates of white supremacy and slavery, to elect the first black president.
Um, I think they need to say this about the Hispanic. It's always half and half. I think this is the only election that hasn't been half and half. I think Kamala could have still won if there was more Black Americans voting, but there weren't. There wasn't that many voting. So what can we say? I think they need to say that about the Hispanic vote. It's they both half and half. It's always 50-50 or 47. Was it 40-40? Was it 40 42? Was it 42-46? I mean 42-48. It's always that. It's never, frequently high, Black Americans, when we vote, most of us vote one-sided. So it's never half and half.
President in 2008, showing just how much the party had changed over the years. Yet it's not entirely clear where the future of the Democratic Party will lie. But as America becomes more diverse, it's likely that the
What's going
Democratic
on,
Party's
Renaissance
appeal among
woman?
minorities
Salute.
will continue to be its strength into the future.
Oh yeah, you're right, Renaissance woman. Give me a second. I'm gonna put you up on the screen. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's all they need to do. Get out the way, let us figure it out. But at the end of the day, they never give us our credit. So now you gotta and never give us anything for it. So they gotta have to figure it out themselves. And this is why there's a lot of madness in America, and a lot of people are laughing at Americans. So it is what it is. The examples that I have given you a past example where without Black America, this country wouldn't be the way it is. It wouldn't be this way it is. Civil War, Black Americans would put it this way. Black Americans was already gonna attack the South. They were already 200,000 strong, and they were about to attack them. But the Civil War happened, and they went with the Republicans. They saved the Republicans. The Republicans was getting blown out the water. They needed black help, you know. Then you look at the Democrats in the 1960s. They wasn't really winning. They didn't really have their feet at the table like that. But when the 1960s came and Black Americans started voting, they went Democrat. That's when you started seeing a spike in Democrats winning in certain places that they usually never won. Now you look at 2026. They need us right now. They need us. They need us for votes. They need us to help fix certain things. It is what it is. This is why I say let them do it by themselves. They're doing it by themselves. This is a prime example that where I'm saying the white supremacists can't do it by themselves, nor as the white community because they turn on each other. Like I'm gonna be personally honest. I'm 41 years old. I have never in my life have seen white people turn on each other as much as have I seen in this era. When Black Americans say, "Yo, I'm not voting no more. I'm not voting till we get something. I'm only voting for policies." What happened? Charlie Kirk got popped in the neck. White supremacists getting beat down. They're running up in barbershops talking about debate me, bro. What type of what is going on? Running up in bars, calling people the N word, and I gotta say the N word because we on Facebook and getting the brakes beat out of them. They out here attacking kids with autism. Like, what is going on with y'all? This is not a good look. We're talking, and this is where I say, you know what? Everybody, a lot of these white supremacists talks about conservitude and being a conservative white Christian country, but at the end of the day, you are doing barbaric stuff. You're doing barbaric. I'm pro gun too, but at the end of the day, they're still doing barbaric stuff. This is crazy. This is crazy. And it's not even all of y'all, but at the end of the day, this is why I always tell you this is what's so great about Black America. Black Americans can call their own out on their bullshit. That's why it looks like we're attacking them. This is why Drake can't adapt to that because if it's like if Dorsey tell me like, "Yo, why are you doing that? You looking like a clown out here. Why are you doing stuff like that?" I'll be like, "Yeah, you're right." I'm not gonna get all upset like, "Yo, f you, Dorsey. Who the hell you think you talking to?" No, it's gonna be like, "Yo, you know what? Yeah, let me reevaluate myself. See what I'm doing out here." That's the Black American way. This is why I say Black Americans is the most patriotic people. You know, we ain't out here doing all that. Well, some are, but it's a very small percentage, and we don't like. Oh, whoa, yo, he's a, and I might joke around and say that. Oh yeah, he's a freedom fighter. They got Daniel Penny, a guy who choked out an artistic kid because he was talking to himself on a train in New York. They brought him to a Alabama Crimson. They brought him to a Crimson Tide Alabama game like he was an American hero. That's barbaric. That's like bringing Vladimir the Pillar to a soccer game because all the people that he violated and did despicable stuff to. That's crazy. January 6th. That's another one. They're barbarics. They're thugs. And look what the white supremacist does. They rationalize what they did was right, knowing that they're breaking the law. This is why I always say Black Americans are the most patriotic people because we follow the Constitution. We follow the law. We don't put people in harms in 2026. In 1960s and the 50s and the 40s, yeah, we were fighting for equal rights and equality. But no, these people are doing this crap right now and getting their own killed. Ashley Babbitt, she deserves to get popped. You're breaking the law. You're breaking into a government building. And what does your president does? What does he do? Oh, we should give them some money. Are you serious? This is why I said they are the same wing. There are different wings on the same bird. It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make the difference. They don't want to talk about reparations. The Democrats don't want to talk about the reparations. The Republicans don't want to talk about the reparations, you know? But they want to give money to January 6th for them being degenerates. That's crazy.
Peace, everybody. This is Akeem from Hindsight Radio. Station, information station changing the nation. Hey, tomorrow is election day. People want to vote Democrat, they want to vote Republican. I thought I'd share some information just in case you were thinking about voting Democrat. Because most people, what we consider African American, Black, whatever you want to call yourself, they want to be a Democrat. And the reason why they're Democrat is because of hearsay. Basically, because their parents did it, their friends are doing it,
I'll be right back,
and
everybody.
they think the Democratic Party is all for them. Well, I'm going to read some stuff today that might make you want to second guess your choice for Democratic Party. Because in my opinion, I believe Democratic Party never was for people of color, African American, blacks, whatever you want to title you want to use. I don't think there ever was and will be for the advancement of people of color. And the reason why, look around you. Where are we? We're still stuck in the same positions. We have people who can't even speak out freely without being censored. When other people who speak from other groups say whatever they want, they don't censor them. So I am going to show you right now. What you probably see on your screen is a one of the governors, Benjamin Ryan Tillman, nicknamed Pitchfork Ben Tillman. He was a white supremacist and he was a Democrat. I'm going to read something from South Carolina's Information Highway. This is straight from out of South Carolina archives. It's not hidden. And I'm also going to read something from a congressional record, what he actually said in a speech or during a session. Yes, in your government. Yes, he said racist things, and he can, and some of the things he's saying today continues to go on today. So when you think you want to be a Democrat, you think Democrats just learn the history of people before you start um, picking them as people you want to support. I will never support anything that is founded in racism. If it started off that way, that means it's still that way.
Mm.
Okay? Think about that. Would you start something started off with a group of people that did not like you and did not want you to have rights? But here, let's read this. Here it is. Pitchfork Ben Tillman. Let's make the screen a little bigger. Was an unabashed and self-proclaimed white supremacist who led South Carolina's notorious red shirts, a paramilitary gang. They call them paramilitary gang that murdered black people on small and large scales.
Mm.
Before his election, he participated in the Hamburg massacre. You can go read about that. Using his role in the riot to vault his political career about the massacre in which 6 innocent African Americans were killed, he stated, the leading white men of Edgefield decided to seize the first opportunity that Negroes might offer them to provoke a riot and teach the Negroes a
Don't forget, everybody. This is Democrat. This is a Democrat party. This is a guy who had the ideology of the Democratic Party. You know, and as he said, you got. This is why I always tell people all the time. And what made me really wanted to do this show, I was thinking of my Grammy. My Grammy always told me to vote Democrat, and I was like, Grammy, why do you vote Democrat? Because all she does, she gave me the answer that my daughter usually give me when she talking about something that she don't understand is, oh, because he's racist, because Donald Trump is racist. Yeah, he's racist, but the the other one is no better either, Grammy. But which one do you want? I said neither, Grammy. I don't want neither of them. But I was like, if I'm gonna go on, um, what's gonna happen or who's gonna fix what? I'd rather vote for Donald Trump because I know he didn't do anything to black people when he was in office. He didn't make no laws that put us in harms, you know? Like a lot of this stuff that happens, a lot of this racist stuff, I don't think we notice that it happens under democratic it happened under the Democrats leadership. It's just honestly the Trayvon Martin, the what else? The Trayvon Martin, the Freddie Gray, the other dude from DC. A lot of that stuff happened under, you know, it happened under the Democratic Party. Remember when old boy Pop, he got busy at the first black church? You know, and what he do? He popped like 12 people. Obama talk about he want to go over there and talk to him. This is the type of weak people that we're dealing with. Obama's a weak person. This is why I always say Michelle Obama has done more for black people than Obama did. Obama didn't do nothing for us. You know, all he did was dry beg us to vote for him. That's it. He dry begged us.
Lesson. Tillman further described the massacre as an opportunity for the whites to demonstrate their superiority by killing as many of them as was justifiable. Interestingly, while Tillman claimed to champion the rights of
Facts.
small farmers, he did very little to help them once he attained office. He did establish Clemson University for the study of agriculture, but other than that, he largely abandoned those who had voted for him.
Mm.
Tillman is immortalized by a larger than life bronze and granite memorial at the South Carolina State House in both Tillman Hall at Clemson and Tillman Hall at Winthrop continue to bear his name.
Mm.
So these schools that a lot of black folks go to, or African American, whatever you want to call yourself, this man is on the school grounds and they do not hide it. I can go right to the website, talk all about it. See, we could blame other groups of people for our problems. Our biggest problem is we still support institutions that are not for us, do not
Facts.
want us to advance. We still support these institutions.
Like I'll say this, what the NAACP is doing about all of us going to a all black HBCU schools, I think is it's a crock of crap. And I'm gonna be personally honest because a lot of those names are named after white folks. Spelman was named after one of the Rothschilds wives. Morehouse was named after the Rothschild or Rockefellers. I think it was the Rothschilds. You know, so it was named after white people. So it's not like, oh well, you know, this is different, yada yada yada. This is the all black. No, most of those is all white schools. It was created by mostly white schools, you know. And I also got to be honest. A lot of foreigners go to these HBCU schools and get our scholarships. Let's personally be honest about that. And they come from abroad. They don't go to the schools that we usually go to. They come from abroad. You know, Michelle is allegedly ready to. Yeah, she would be, but I hope she don't go for presidency. If anything, I hope she be like a senate or something. I think she'll be a great senate. Probably, if not top five, top 10 greatest senates ever. I think she can make a difference in that. I wouldn't tell her if anything, if she wants to become a president, I would tell her not to be a president now. I would tell her to be a senate first, you know, and make a difference and make her footprint there because I heard she was a very great lawyer. So I will be honest about that. I heard she was a very great lawyer.
Why would you go to a school and give your money away, take out loans, put yourself in debt to a school who has this man as its founder? And not only that, they proudly parade him in the hallways. He's right there on the About Me page for Clemson
Mm,
University talking. They're not hiding the fact that he was a racist. But we are the problem. The government's not the problem. It's not the Democrats. It's not the Republican Party. We are the problem because we support these institutions.
facts.
We give our money, our time, and our loyalty to
Hmm.
groups of people or institutions that do not care about us
Facts.
at all.
He's right.
So let me keep going. Move down. These are some of the major events of him. Well, that's all they talked about on that page. Let's go to this page. Here. The
Oh, let's keep on
imbecility of
going
this dude
because
who an objection. And those
we're not gonna
results
keep
are
on
not
talking about this,
war.
man. We got
Right?
enough.
To the charges is the race hatred of the whites is the result by their own hot-headed a firearm. Whenever it was necessary to sustain the government, you held it up
All
by
right,
the
let's skip
army.
this one. This is for educational purpose too, everybody.
This is the story of one of the most controversial theories in American political history, the party switch. One of the great and often repeated myths in American politics is the great switch of the two primary political parties. One question often arises: how did the party of Abraham Lincoln become the party of the Southern conservative base? How did Democrats go from the party of segregation and lynching to the party of civil rights? Was there in fact a complete ideological switch? Let's clarify this situation. Was there really a full ideological switch between Democrats and Republicans? Today we're going to break down the facts and the fiction behind this idea. What is the party switch theory? What is the historical reality?
Um, that's actually a good question, Black Snow Bunny King. I will say this, and I'll put that up on the page because that's actually a good question. We personally don't know because I will say this. Yes and no. And the reason why I say yes and no because we had mostly Democratic presidents. Um, when we got a good Republican president, he doesn't really do anything for us. But when we got a bad one, we got a bad one. We got a very bad Republican presidents when we get bad ones. So it's like a flip of a dime if we get a good one or a bad one with Republicans. Like we had Ronald Reagan. He put crack in the streets. We got him. I think we had what Tricky Dicky, Richard Nixon. I don't know if he was a Democrat or Republican. Let me see. Give me a second. Let me be Richard Nixon. Was he a Democrat or a Republican? Because he was a Republican, and I think he got impeached too. See, like he was a bad one. Trump, he really didn't hurt black people like that because he didn't do anything for us. I'm gonna be personally honest. He really didn't do anything for us. But the thing about it is just the Democrats, and this is, I think this is a very bad thing that they usually do. They usually, God, how do I say it? What they do is when they get in office and they know black Americans has help because this is what they do every election, every like election for mayor, representative, senate. They'll come to all these black neighborhoods, kiss some babies, say what the other side is trying to do and not tell us what they're doing, what they're gonna do. If not, give us some false hope. Then when they get in office, we don't see them until another 2 to 4 years. And I have to call them out. Even sometimes my people do that as representatives. They don't sell out, but they buy in. They buy into the system where they just don't do anything for us. So like that's why I say it's a yes and a no for both. Like, did we have any good Republic presidents that were good? I'm gonna be personally. They always need help. Republican Party always needs help. You know, because as I always said, they always talk about the old times. I want to go back to the 1960s and just stupid stuff like that. And I was like, why are you talking about the 1960s and we're in 2026? Or we're in 2025, 2024. I want to go back when men were men. Like, why the fuck? Excuse me, because we're on Facebook. Like, why are you saying stuff like that? Because it's weird. Why would you want to go back to somewhere where they didn't have phones and they all had pay phones? You know, they were doing telegrams and stuff like that. Why would you want to go there? Why would you want to go back where they would when they had sundown towns like heavy when people were coming back missing? Like I don't get it. You know, and that's always confused me when people say stuff like that. I want to go back to the time when people were men and women were like maybe you're just hanging out in the wrong spots, in the wrong places. You know, that it's weird to me. So that's a good question, Snow Bunny King. That's actually a real good question. I can't really. I personally wouldn't even know. I'm only 41. You know, that's a question that I would have to ask somebody who's like in their 50s or 60s. The most people who say in the 60s, they said that one of the greatest presidents was Jimmy Carter until he started running his mouth to Fidel Castro, and he sent all the thugs and criminals to Florida and Chicago. So shout out to Fidel Castro and Jimmy Carter. Shut up next time. Well, I think he's dead now, but it's not your best time. There's him. There's I don't consider JFK a good president because he was extort his I think his uncle or his nephew Bobby Kennedy was allegedly extorting the mob, and that's what got him popped. You know, so I'm gonna be personally honest. You know, but yeah, he was trying to extort the mob when JFK got into the office. That's what was said around, the world that most people don't see.
When did this supposedly occur? Was it ever true? Hello, I'm Colin Heaton, former history professor, Army and Marine Corps veteran, and welcome to this episode of Forgotten History. The theory suggests that Democrats and Republicans swapped ideological platforms during the 20th century, especially on issues like civil rights, race, and the role of government. In this version of history, the Republican Party supposedly embraced the policies and voters of the old Southern Democrats, while Democrats claimed to have transformed into champions of civil rights and minority causes. The Democratic Party, as we know it, was shaped by Andrew Jackson, a populist but also a slaveholder. The Republican Party, founded in the 1850s, was the party of Abraham Lincoln and born in opposition to the expansion of slavery, but not the abolishment of slavery. Please see our videos on Jackson and Lincoln. After the Civil War, Republicans pushed Reconstruction policies to protect the rights of freed black people. Meanwhile, Southern Democrats created and enforced Jim Crow laws, maintaining segregation and opposing civil rights for African Americans well into the 20th century. Even Democrat President Woodrow Wilson was a staunch racist who wanted complete government control and created the Internal Revenue Service with the 16th Amendment in 1913 and the Federal Reserve to take more money from Americans. By the 1930s, under Franklin D. Roosevelt, the Democratic Party began courting working class voters,
The reason why I stopped this because Dorsey called this. He said this.
including northern black communities, with programs like the New Deal. But FDR did little to nothing to improve race relations in the South and refused to support anti lynching legislation or desegregation of the military. He confiscated
You
gold
called it,
supplies from
Dorsey.
Americans, and he had the opportunity to desegregate the military and allow the immigration of Jews under persecution from Germany and Austria, and he refused. See our videos on FDR. The Democrats also supported labor unions, which the Republicans in general saw as a communist attempt to control effective business practices. The Northern Democrats tended to be supportive of civil rights for blacks to gain their support away from the Republican Party, which was business friendly and pushing for limited government involvement. But this divided the Democrats. Southern Democrats remained fiercely segregationist, while Northern Democrats grew more
Facts,
supportive of
Renaissance
civil
woman. You're
rights,
right
causing
about
growing
that.
tension within the party. The 1950s and 60s pressure mounted. Northern Democrats supported civil rights legislation to secure black votes, while Southern Democrats resisted fiercely, trying to block blacks from
Mm.
voting. Senators like Strom Thurmond and Robert Byrd, the latter a former KKK member, and see our video on him, were both Democrats who led the charge against civil rights.
Damn. See that, St. Michael's? This is why I say, yo, you say that you're a Republican, but your heart says that you're a Democrat. You know, a lot of this stuff that you promote on my show, St. Michael's, a lot of stuff that you do, the way how you talk, your ideology is it's old school Democrat, you know, and like I said, I know you don't want to admit it, but that's how you sound. You sound like an old school Democrat, you know. The KKK was a part of was a Democratic was a part of the Democratic Party. So it's what you want me to say?
From within the Democratic Party. The other major opponent to civil and voting rights for
Oh my
blacks in the South
god.
was Texas Senator Lyndon Baines Johnson, the future president, who, along with Democratic Senator Robert C. Byrd of West Virginia,
Mm.
fought tooth and nail to keep blacks from receiving legal recourse under the Constitution. Senator Byrd himself had, in the early 1940s, recruited about 150 of his friends and relatives and other associates to create a new chapter of the Ku Klux Klan in
Mm.
Sophia, West Virginia.
A
He
Democrat.
later changed his political position on civil rights as well.
Is that Chris Bird right there? A Democrat? Bro. Yo, crazy. This is why I always tell you the white supremacists is crazy. They always talk about the Democrats and the Democrats ain't this and they're wicked, but you gotta understand a lot of these white supremacists try to be evil, but the evil they got a heart of a like I don't I'm gonna be personally honest. I don't get why these people want I don't get why the racist is a Democrat. I mean is a Republican. They're not conservative. A lot of white supremacists what they believe conservative is not conservative at all. You know, so it's it's weird to me.
But remained a Democrat. Despite his long history of being previously opposed to the various civil rights bills, LBJ signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting
They
Rights
forced
Act of
them to.
1965, largely due to political pressure and the rise of figures like
Uh
Republican Barry
Give me a
Goldwater, who
second.
opposed federal overreach and supported racial equality.
Do
This alienated many white
right.
Southern Democrats, also known as Dixiecrats, who had historically opposed integration and supported segregation. This was when the Republican Party began to appeal to Southern Democrats who wanted limited government in their lives.
Mm.
Greater states' rights and the social conservative platform of Republicans began to appeal to many Southerners who were drifting away from the racial mindset. Goldwater's posture of pursuing partisan stance against communism was in alignment with conservatives, but it was also used against him, a
Yo,
position which LBJ
this is
initially claimed
crazy.
publicly to be opposed to, despite his later creating the Gulf of Tonkin incident as a ruse to get legislation passed to send American combat troops to South Vietnam.
Yo, these
These
people are
stipulations were also read
crazy.
to other entitlements by the Johnson administration in order to buy the black vote through generational patronage.
Mm.
Democrats had a durable base among minorities, urban voters, and socially liberal intellectuals. Also, Southern Democrats were anti legal immigration into their states, while the Northern Democrats promoted legal immigration. Also, Southern Protestants were typically more religious and church going, while the Northern, East, and West Coast Democrats began to walk away from organized religion and adopted pro Marxist platforms, which were deemed by Southern conservatives as anti American. This all triggered a backlash, and Johnson famously said, "We have lost the South for a generation, but we have the black vote for the next 200 years." This was the moment when many Southern white voters, alienated by civil rights policies
I'll
and the
say that. I think that should have been a warning when he said that. Was it the Democrats favors the farmers and Republicans are technology and resources. I don't know how to answer that question. I don't even know how to even respond to that question, Dorsey. I want to say you're right. Because I don't know. I'm gonna be personally honest. I don't know. I don't even know anymore. This is how crazy these folks is. These Democrats and these Republicans are really, really crazy, man. And the reason why I say they're crazy because look how they act. You know, they want to be conservative, but they support technology resources. And the Democrats favor farmers. You know, I don't know what I don't know, man. It's weird, man. And I'm gonna say it's to me it's weird, and the reason why I say it's a weird situation. To me, it would have been backwards because I would want to. Let me tell you what's the correct way it should have been. The Democrats support resources and technology. Republicans support farmers, and the reason why I said Republicans would support farmers and should support farmers because at the end of the day, those are Americans supporting that technology. You can probably it's more of a it's more dealing with import and export. I don't really know. I wouldn't know Republicans for import and export. I really know Republicans supporting American jobs. Farmers is an American job. But technology, you could get your technology from China or India or like the resources from Africa or Asia or the Caribbeans. That's more of a democratic thing. You know, but you could be right. I don't know. That's why I said I don't know how to respond to
And
that.
federal welfare expansion began to shift toward the Republican Party, not because the GOP embraced racism, but because it promoted limited government, states' rights, and traditional family values.
Mm.
Another factor aiding in the shift was the Vietnam War, which also divided the country along political lines, and LBJ took the greatest criticism from his own party as a result. Democrats were heavily divided on Vietnam as well. The majority of politically liberal Democrats opposed their own Democrat President Johnson regarding U.S. involvement, while more conservative Democrats and Republicans either took a neutral or pro American involvement in fighting
Mm.
communism. In 1968, Richard M. Nixon ran on the presidential GOP ticket and
Tricky
he
Dicky.
courted disaffected Southern whites using code
They know him as Tricky Dicky. So if you ever heard that word Tricky Dicky, they talk about Richard Nixon.
words like law and order, states' rights, and opposition to forced busing, while still maintaining the GOP support for black rights, which still divided Democrats. This opened the door for Republicans, notably Richard Nixon and later Ronald Reagan, who used what has become known as the Southern Strategy to gain support in the South by appealing to concerns about federal overreach against states' rights and cultural change. Richard Nixon's Southern strategy emphasized law and order and opposition to federal busing policies, which was a big deal to Democrats, appeals that resonated with voters frustrated by cultural and political upheaval. Nixon had campaigned on getting out of Vietnam, which satisfied many of both parties' voters and also added Southern whites to Republican rolls. Nixon also ended the Democrat created Tuskegee syphilis experiment program created by Democrats, among other legislation. And see our video on Nixon. Ronald Reagan later unified these groups into a larger conservative coalition, business leaders, evangelicals, and working class whites, under the banner of small government and anti socialist policies. Democrats became the party of urban centers, progressives, minorities, and coastal elites. They eventually abandoned the Ku Klux Klan, which they had created after the Civil War and
Damn.
supported for a
Told you.
century because the hate group had become too toxic. Republicans attracted religious conservatives, rural voters, small business owners, and working class traditionalists, especially in the South and Midwest, as progressive Democrats, especially in the North, turned away from supporting religion, which conservatives found appalling. Yes, it is true that some Democrat figures switched parties, like Strom Thurmond of South Carolina, but the idea that the GOP adopted the racist legacy of the Democratic South is misleading and patently false. The Ku Klux Klan, for instance, was never embraced by the GOP. In fact, the Reagan administration helped dismantle it legally and financially, effectively destroying it. Over the years, Democrats embraced more progressive positions on gun control, gender identity, immigration, and race. They allied with activist groups like Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and others whose critics argued furthered social and political division and supported wanton violence. Meanwhile, many centrist and conservative Democrats, especially in the South, left the party altogether, becoming Republicans or independents. This wasn't a swap, it was an evolution. In essence, the Democrats who have revised their history to remove the stains of slavery.
Um, it's not removed. I'm gonna be personally honest. As a Black American, I can still see the ideology in the Democrat Party, and I think that's the weird part. You know, they are trying to remove it, and I get it. You know, I think that's what's if you're smart, you should do stuff like that. You should supposed to evolve, but I don't think any of these parties are evolving. I think they're trying to stay the same. You know, still keep their ideology instead of upgrade or evolve their ideology. And that's what sucks about that, because you're not giving people a real chance of picking what they want to pick you know
Jim Crow, and violence against blacks have lost control. Democrats love to identify Republicans as being the party of racist and anti middle class workers. They claim that Republicans adopted
mm, I'm sorry, everybody.
program Carolina. But the idea that the GOP adopted the racist legacy of the Democratic South is misleading and patently false. In fact, it was under Republican Party and race. They allied
Give me a second, everybody. I don't know where I was at. I apologize, everybody.
to change affiliation. The argument had been that the parties literally swapped the names and positions, but the parties evolved gradually, and their ideological coalition shifted, and Democrat methods remained pretty much the same. Today's political map reflects decades of migration, economic change, and cultural realignment, not a simple party flip. African American voters, who largely supported the GOP after the Civil War, began overwhelmingly voting Democrat after the 1960s due to the laws passed by LBJ and the black support regarding both parties still favor the Democrats. But
I went too far, everyone. Hold on.
while ultra left domestic terror groups remained entrenched within the Democrat Party, replacing the far right Democrats created and supported KKK. In fact, the modern Democrats today still support active violence. But did the parties really switch? Well, not exactly. There was no official swap of platforms or party names. Instead, there was a gradual realignment of coalitions. The Republican base grew in the South and included all these previous groups because they were socially conservative working class Americans. And recently, many Democrats who abandoned their party and registered as Republicans or independents actually voted for Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
The Reagan Revolution in the 1980s brought together business interests and everyone else who felt disenfranchised by Democrat politics, and they united under the GOP brand using an anti liberal, anti socialist states' rights message and limited government platform. This shift was a gradual realignment of voters' ideologies and regional priorities.
Hey, yo, let me ask y'all a question. Would y'all like to do a show? What is the better choice for the Black American, the Democrats or a Republican? Would you like to do a show tomorrow about that? And we'll do the dark history between Black Americans in the Republican Party on Tuesday. We can do that. You know, just tell me what y'all want to do.
Not a clean switch. The Democrat platform wanted to abolish the Second Amendment. That was a large part of the political shift in politics. Over time, Democrats became more aligned with the urban minority and progressive voter in major cities on the East and West Coast and in large northern and even some southern cities, while the Republicans have attracted and contained and retained rural, religious, and conservative voters, particularly in the South and Midwest. More recent Democrat supported criminal entities such as Black Lives Matter and Antifa And see our video on BLM and even their left wing socialist predecessors like the Weather Underground terrorists, and also see our video on them, remained loyal to and were supported by the Democrats.
Um, this guy's being a little bit biased. I will say that, and the reason why I had to stop that. This is we're gonna end this video. The reason why he's being a little bit biased because we know what fell under the Republican Party. You know, we had all these white nationalists running around. We got the chug to build the ideology and stuff like that. We white supremacy technically right now is under the Republican Party, and a lot of these Republican enthusiasts, as I like to call them, that they run through a white supremacist ideology now. You know, they're running up in barbershops telling people again, telling black people to debate them. Black people minding their business. They're running up in our entertainment. When I'm talking about our bars, our and don't get me wrong, everybody got is freedom to go wherever you want. But if you're gonna be a tyrant, I don't think you should be in these bars. I don't think you need to be in these bars with black people. I don't think the Montgomery. I'm gonna tell you this. What really started my path to right now? It was the Montgomery brawl. This is what I really wanted to talk about. Stuff what's going on with the Black American community. You know, and I'm gonna say this. What I seen. If I have never seen no coonery in my life, I had seen I seen African Americans. When I say African Americans, I'm talking about people who are Caribbean, people who are from Africa. As many times they cape for the white supremacists, and we seen a black American guy who didn't do anything and told the guy he had to move his boat, and we seen all this rationalizing why these black Americans jumped on him, bust a white woman in the head with a chair. The black women got busy. You know, I haven't seen so much injustice and much still most biasness in my life until I seen that. Until I seen that. They jumped this old black man, and they expect black people just to stand there and not do nothing and just start taking pictures. Nah, we get busy. We get busy out here, and this is where I'm gonna say a lot of these Pan Africans and a lot of these people have problems with us. And I'm talking about Black Americans who stand on Black American or American business. They don't want us to be patriotic of our ancestors. They don't want us to know our culture. They don't want us to even know our lineage. When we tell them our lineage, they be like, "Oh, well, that's not your lineage." But Dr. Umar can lie and say he's related to goddamn what's my man's name? Marcus Garvey. We got a Pan African lying about another Pan African being his cousin or uncle. And we're supposed to let that go by? Nah. We getting busy out here. This is why they got a lot of problems with us because we're honest of where we're from and who we are. That's the problem. Like we and black Americans don't have no problem with no other race. By all means, if anything, we're the ones who inspire for other people to listen to your music, to love your music, to say like, "Yo, I'm from Jamaica, and this is my culture over here. I'm from Ghana. This is my culture over here. Oh, we do this in Congo. Oh yeah, you see it here. The song. This is from Dominican Republic. Black Americans inspired that. A lot of people wasn't really listening. Let me tell you something. A lot of people wasn't showing their culture. And I'm gonna be personally honest. A lot of people and I'm calling y'all out because of that. All of a sudden, black Americans is giving you a spotlight for your music, for your art, and all of a sudden you did it by yourself. Okay, cool. Don't ask for help.
And still are to this day. These actions drove conservative Democrats even further away from the party and further divided Democrats and forced others to change affiliation. The argument had been that the parties literally swapped the names and positions. But the parties evolved gradually, and their ideological coalition shifted, and Democrat methods remained pretty much the same. Today's political map reflects decades of migration, economic change, and cultural realignment, not a simple party flip. African American voters, who largely supported the GOP after the Civil War, began overwhelmingly voting Democrat after the 1960s due to the laws passed by LBJ and the black support regarding both parties still favor the Democrats, but in far less numbers today. It's not about who changed names, it's about who showed up and what they stood for. People generally vote with their pocketbooks, and Democrat policies have always increased taxes, reduced employment opportunities, increased interest and mortgage rates, increased nonsensical spending at home and abroad, as well as increased the general cost of living. But perhaps the greatest driving force sending former Democrats to the middle or right were the Biden
Oh yeah,
administration's policies on taxpayers funding millions of illegal immigrants, importing and increasing.
you already seen this part. I'm gonna move on to the next because we're running out of time. Let's see, 14, 17. So we already talked about Andrew Jackson. Oh shit! Shoot. Okay, so this is what you. I'm gonna play this last video because we got enough history on the Democrat Party. Let's see. Yeah, we already talked about this. So I'm gonna do this last one, and if I got enough time, no, I'm gonna do this last one and call it the day.
Crockett's loss for the Texas Senate race last night taught the Democrats a really, really important lesson. And hopefully they'll listen.
On March 3rd, 2026, the U.S. Senate race involving Jasmine Crockett and James Tallarico took place. Now, that's important to know. This was the Democratic nomination, and obviously, whoever won from this will challenge the Republican candidate. In this case, Jasmine Crockett lost when she officially conceded on March 1st, 2026.
We encourage each and every one of you to remain resilient. We cannot allow this type of behavior to be rewarded, because so long as they know that they can win, even if it means cheating, then they will continue to do it.
That's right. She actually accused the Republicans of cheating.
Mm.
And then after this situation, of course, people in black social media started to talk about it.
The primary between Jasmine Crockett and James Tallarico wasn't just another race. It exposed a lot, because suddenly the conversation wasn't about qualifications. Again, not about policy, and it damn sure wasn't about experience. It suddenly became, we need someone who's going to win. And baby, we know what that code means. Because somehow, when a black woman is running, electability somehow becomes the main concern. But outside of that, what really caught my
The reason why I'm gonna show this video, I think this video is very important, and the reason why I say it's important because you need to know your enemies. Um, as of learning about Democrats, you gotta understand there's a lot of backstabbing that does happen, and this is one of them. As a black person, they call Andrew Jackson Old Hickory because he used to beat people with a cane. Yeah, he was a very vicious person, Dorsey. um, the reason why I always tell people, yo, know your enemy, because at the end of the day, as a person who understood Democrats, a lot of these Democrats turn on each other, and this is a prime example of one turning on each other is Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett has fought for immigration. Jasmine Crockett has fought for equality for people who are not supposed to be here, and those people who were supposed to be here turned on her. They turned on her like that. So it's not surprising. That's all I'm gonna tell you. It's not surprising. I knew it was gonna happen, and she gotta lay in the bed that she made.
attention. Some of the arguments coming from black women. looking like pure foolery.
Now, of course, there's another black woman who is basically using the "you don't like black women" clause and talking about white supremacy, basically echoing the same talking points as Jasmine Crockett herself. But she said something that was important. The way that certain black women felt about Jasmine Crockett. And the lady would go ahead to challenge those positions.
Talking about Jasmine was ghetto and that she represents black women poorly. Now hold on. You mean the same black woman that's an attorney, a member of Congress, and one of the sharpest communicators in politics right now is ghetto? If you are a black woman and you said that, the internalized racism is on it's on your sleeve, baby.
Mhm.
Woo! Now this is very important because most black women are Democrats. Many of them are Democrats,
Yes.
okay? And it's important to see when even black women feel that a candidate that's from their community is a little bit over the top. This is very troubling. And we've seen some of these situations get bad already. Let's look at Monique Owen in East Point, Michigan. Let's look at former New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell, who had so many problems. And my favorite, Mayor Tiffany Hinyard of Dalton, Illinois. I would say that Tiffany Hinyard matches up with Jasmine Crockett to a T because Tiffany Hinyard appeals to a very urban crowd. And so does Jasmine Crockett. And I get it that she went to law school, she's a lawyer, but none of that matters when the public looks at you, some of it as being too abrasive and only appealing a certain demographic of the voter base.
Facts.
And this
And I'm gonna say this. I understand why there's a lot of theatrics with black Americans is because how the media portrays us. You know, us eating catfish nuggets and buttermilk biscuits and all this other stuff. I don't even know where that stuff came from. The catfish nuggets and stuff like that, and the buttermilk biscuits and stuff, and the catfish cookout and stuff like that. It's just it's pathetic. I'm gonna be personally honest. The Democrats is pathetic for that. I gotta be personally honest. They need to fix that. And this is why I said the Democrat relationship is messed up. And I fucks with Jasmine Crockett. I think she's cute. You know, her politics I don't fuck with, but she's cute, man. Oh man, I'll give her 4, maybe even 5 rounds, not minutes but rounds. What? Oh man, Jasmine Crockett's cute. I fucks with her little lace fronts and shit. Yeah, she's a fine old one. But you know, her politics, I don't really fuck with. You know, I ain't gonna beat down no black woman like that. I think she's cute though.
situation would
I'm
come.
gonna get me a little Jasmine Crockett T-shirt. They say, "Oh, you're a Democrat?" No, I ain't no Democrat. I just think she's sexy.
Pass when another lady brought up the same exact problem.
I think last night's loss taught the Democrats that we are tired of the antics. We are tired of Democrats using hip hop to pander to us.
I
We are
just said
tired
that.
of Democrats pointing the finger at Republicans, but not actually telling us what they plan to do differently. We are tired of Democrats being loud, but not offering any loud solutions. Democrats have got to focus on the things that are important to not just super leftists, because you know the super leftist people, they're going to always vote Democrat no matter what. You need to focus on the things that are going to pull in someone like me, who is a liberal, but I'm more right here on the liberal scale, okay? Not in the middle, because I'm never going to vote Republican, but I'm also going to choose the liberal that talks about the things that I care about. One of the things that I mostly care about is the economy.
Now, this is a lady who is a black woman, and she's a Democrat, okay? And what she's saying is very, very important. She's saying, listen, the Democrats focus too much on sensationalism. This is a black woman herself. She's a Democrat. She's not a Republican. She will never be a Republican. But look at what she talked about. She calls herself a moderate Democrat. She's not extremely to the left like somebody like Brandon Johnson in Chicago. She's a woman that is moderate, okay? Closer to the center than to the far left. And what she's saying is when it came to Jasmine Crockett, it was not a definitive stance on issues that many Americans are facing, right? And that was just too much of an appeal to just black voters or to certain agendas, but not necessarily to everyone else. But let's get to the point about the person that she was running against, which is a guy by the name of James Tallarico. Now, James Tallarico is a pastor and he's also Democrat. But look at what some of the voters are saying
No,
about
see,
him.
you're
The
a fool.
best presidential candidate for Democrats in 2028 by far is James Tallarico. Quick little asterisk on this is that it's only if he wins the Texas Senate seat, but I think that he will. He's incredibly intelligent. He's incredibly well spoken. He's young, which I think is actually a benefit, not a detriment. He's progressive, but he doesn't make it his entire personality. He's not only able to speak to swing voters, he's able to do it incredibly well and pitch people who are in the middle and somewhat to the right on progressive ideas.
When you're listening,
That sounds good. That sounds cool and stuff, but I don't think he is. I'm gonna be personally honest. I think he's full of shit. I'm gonna be most white politicians are full of shit. I'm gonna be personally honest. A lot of I'll say a lot of Caribbeans they're full of shit big time. Like the Brian Donalds, the Bernard, what's his name? Brandon, what was it? The dude of Chicago. He's full of shit. That motherfucker dry bag. Oh, excuse me. That homie dry bagged black Americans to vote for him, and he wasn't even of culture. I don't. He looks like he's a Caribbean. I'm gonna be personally honest, and there's nothing wrong with being Caribbean, but to me personally, I don't like the flat blackness. I think when this delineation really happens, a lot of people can show their culture. I think people shouldn't take that as a bad thing. I think people should take it as a good thing. No, you can't benefit off of black Americans, but you can also show your culture and your achievements from your country or from your race. I would say that.
to the person that is describing James Tallarico, you're hearing a few things that are important. First thing is you're hearing about his ability to reach the masses. This is probably the most important thing. He can reach the center, he can reach the left, he can reach the right. Okay. He's smart, he's well spoken, he's young, okay, he's progressive. These are things, right? But at the end of the day, he appeals to swing voters. This is how most people win presidencies, governors. They can appeal to swing voters, people who are disgruntled, let's say with MAGA, okay? If you look at Jasmine Crockett, she cannot appeal to anybody on the right. It's very difficult. She's way too amped up. I'm not going to say that she's way too hood, but it's too much, let me say, white supremacy. The white man got his foot on my neck, sticking up for illegal immigrants.
This is why I say when it comes to black Americans and Democrats, I think it's hard to say because at the end of the day, the history of Democrats. I think we're gonna land here. I told you it's not gonna be a long show. I said 2.5 hours, but we went over a little bit. I want to say this before I land, and I want to say shout out to Snow Bunny King. He asked a dope ass question, and I rock with that question. And I actually want to do a show on that. Um, I think I want to do it tomorrow too. I think it was a great question. Thank you, Black Snow Bunny King, for that question. Uh, I want to say this: the Democrats have a very nasty history with Black Americans. We just started, rocking with Democrats probably in the 1960s. That's it. A lot of them didn't rock with us. A lot of them had a problem. Um, us, integrating, you know, and I think a lot of this integration came from the Northern Democrats because they said it did switch the Democrats and the Republicans. It kind of switched, but as I said, I think it was just a power play. It was more of a power play. But at the end of the day, I personally wouldn't trust the Democrats, and the reason why is the nasty history. and this is just learning it now because this I learned about this Democrat culture with y'all. I learned about the origin of Democrat culture or Democrats lineage with Black Americans. I didn't know none of this stuff today until we actually did the research. And shout out to everybody who said something, who talked on it, who watched it. I appreciate it. Let me start giving my shout outs. Let me give my shout outs right now. Give me a second. All right. So shout out to Dorsey, St. Michael's, Dorsey again, FBA Convo, Ali Howard, Oscar Malika. Yes. Shout out to E Will, Renaissance Woman, Black. Oh, Black Snow Bunny King and Lala. Thank y'all for coming on the show and other people. Also, shout out to Robin from Kick and everybody from Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble. Sorry I didn't name y'all, but thank y'all for coming on the show. I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Enjoy.